Now, devastating flooding in Pakistan is taking a human and financial toll. At least 1,000 people have died, more than 33 million affected. Pakistan's climate change minister says 1/3 of the country is submerged under flood waters. Early estimates put the damage at more than $10 billion, and government officials say it might take 5 years to rebuild the nation and overcome food shortages. Prices already shot up due to flooded crops and impassable roads. And for its part, Canada has committed $5 million in funding for humanitarian assistance in response to the flooding. For more on this developing story, let's bring in Rebecca Bundan, live from Mumbai. Rebecca, bring us up to date on the situation right now.
Yeah, it's a really grim situation in Pakistan. More than 1/3 of the country submerged underwater. That's what the climate change minister in Pakistan said. And millions of people have been displaced. There are hundreds of thousands of homes that have been destroyed. Roads and bridges have been washed away. Crops have been washed away. People killed by landslides, by the flooding, by rivers swelling and washing people away, literally, and including entire villages. So really a terrible situation on the ground. Now there are a lot of people who are in relief camps. They're in need of food and shelter. So the government has been appealing for funds, but it's a really difficult situation because as rescue efforts continue, those rescue efforts are being hampered by the fact that it's just very difficult to reach certain areas because roads have been washed away, bridges have been damaged, and it's just not possible to reach those areas unless they go by helicopter. So the Navy, the Army, they've been brought in to try to help with these rescue efforts, but there is still a lot of people who are stranded, a lot of people who are facing challenging circumstances. Their homes have been completely washed out.
Now, Rebecca, as we mentioned, Canada has committed $5 million for humanitarian aid. What more is needed from the international community?
Well, Pakistan's government saying an awful lot more is needed given the extent of the damage, the immediate needs there in the country, food, shelter, water. There are expected food shortages on the way as well, which is going to be a big challenge. So many crops have been destroyed by the flooding. A lot of countries have already stepped in, including Canada. They are giving a lot of support. The United States, the United Kingdom, the United Arab Emirates. A lot of countries are lending support, but the government is saying that far more will be needed, as it's going to be a process that will take years and years potentially to rebuild a lot of that infrastructure, the homes that have been destroyed. We know as well that the United Nations today has launched an appeal for $160 million to help Pakistan in this situation, as it's in need of food, water, sanitation, emergency education. It wants to get this money together to try to help the country, but far more is going to be needed. We know that the IMF as well has also approved a $1 billion bailout as well. That was part of a wider program that was already in place for Pakistan, given the economic challenges that it's already been facing. But this is an ongoing challenge for the country now. These monsoon floods have really affected the country very, very badly. It's going to be counting the cost for a long time to come.
Rebecca Bundan in Mumbai, thank you for this.